All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the One Up Sales Development Podcast. For today's episode I have for you guys is a really nice and special treat for you guys. This individual has been in his sales, I would probably say, throughout his whole entire life. He moved around quite a bit, but when he moves around, it's strategic about it. It's calculated. It's not where you bite the dust and then just find a specific spot. And I truly believe this person knows exactly what he wants, and he does exactly what he did. And this guy is a big, huge sport fanatic lover. He's been in sales for quite some time now. He's really big when it comes to inside sales, especially building out an SDR and BDR team. Specializes in the small tech SaaS company to grow revenue over revenue. He was promoted to an AE. He ran a whole sales team where he exceeded quota of over 4 million. He is also a member of the Revenue Collective, and he was also featured from my good friend Scott Ingram's book when it comes to LinkedIn Star Sales, available over at Amazon, just to throw that out there. But please give us a warm welcome to Mr. Josh Roth, Business Development Manager over at Walkme.
Well, that was an incredible introduction. Thank you very much. I feel more than welcome.
Josh, thank you so much. You know, it was great. We connected a while back, and really, I really didn't get the full exposure from you until our Zoom room call that we had with the Sales Rebellion not too long ago over with Jack Wilson, Del Dupree, and those guys over there. And I just saw you spin out these contents when it comes to marketing alignment. I was like, damn, that's why I asked you earlier. I thought you were in the Sales Rebellion because you're like wrapping up. But welcome to the show, man.
Well, thank you. I'm super stoked to be here. Thank you for such an awesome introduction, and I'm excited to chat some sales with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Josh, before we actually hopped on, I actually been doing a lot of research on you for quite some time. Noticed you were featured on a few other podcasts. Great one from my friend Mateo too over at Sales Dev Squad. Shout out to you, Mateo. And I really love your sales methodology and just the way you do things in particular, which is I find quite different, which I'd like to dive into a bit later. But why don't you go ahead and just give us a brief story of who you are, what do you currently do, and how did you get into sales?
Yeah, so where I started my career, I always wanted to work in sports. I actually wanted to be like a general manager of a baseball team, and that's really where I spent the majority of my early years, kind of interning and working. And out of college, I wasn't really as much of a quant as you probably need to be in order to be in the baseball operations or football operations department. So I was advised pretty early on to go look towards a little bit the marketing side. So I started kind of pivoting, and one thing that I heard early was if you want to be good at marketing, you have to go to sales first. So I figured, okay, like I'll go to sales. I had no sales experience at all. So I started selling at the University of Oregon. I was actually an annual giving representative at the University of Oregon. And the first cold call I ever made, it wasn't on purpose, but they had this software that just dials Oregon alumni. And the first cold call I ever made was to, true story, Patrick Chung, who's the starting safety for the New England Patriots. He was a former football player at Oregon. And I cannot tell you how scared I was. Like, I was like, this is the last person I want to be talking to right now. So that was how my sales experience started. And to answer your next question, no, did not sell him. Very nice guy, though. Very nice guy. And so from there, graduated from Oregon and started my career in inside sales at the New York Mets. I was an ISR, which essentially it's pretty much a classic, like, entry-level sales type of role. The one difference between an ISR and like what you might find in like an SDR, BDR type role was we were actually full cycle. So I was my own SDR and BDR. I was closing deals. I was doing all this stuff, and it's not like we had any leads. So we, the Mets had, I'm sure at some point, purchased like a big lead list of just, businesses in New York. And I was just calling through the list. And it was definitely trial by fire, but it was also probably the best training that I ever could have gotten in sales. I got pretty much a crash course on, building pipe, in terms of processing deals through like solution design, and then going through the process of actually closing deals. So that was a pretty incredible opportunity. And from there, moved into an account executive role where I was doing a lot of the same stuff. The leads were a lot better, but was doing a lot of the same stuff as I was doing as an ISR. And then as manager of premium sales, that's really where I kind of took my sales game to the next level. I was doing a little bit of player coach there, and there's a lot more of the kind of more premier accounts. So that's where we had like, the Googles and Bank of Americas that I was working with. And that was a pretty incredible experience at a pretty early stage in my sales career, to be working with some pretty logoed accounts. And then from there, I really wanted to start my own business and see if I could, have my sales chops on a little bit of a smaller scale. So jumped into Presidio Strategic Communications as a 1/3 owner and partner there. And from there, just basically outsourced myself as a director of sales dev or head of sales dev for Series A and Series B tech companies. And really had a pretty unique opportunity to build sales orgs at some small companies. And from there, really, to where we are today, like I really wanted to scale up my knowledge and go from that Series A, Series B to a little bit more of like a, not necessarily a public company, but just a larger scale organization. And Walkme is certainly, post Series G at this point. So a little bit of a larger organization, and really understanding kind of what that looks like from a larger scale, which has been a goal of mine for a while.
Nice. And Josh, congratulations on the new move, by the way. Really love that. You move over to Walkme. You're looking to build something new, which I think is definitely great. And I just want to dive deep into something for a bit real quick. So you mentioned, you more want to specialize in like scaling team with like Series A's and Series B. This is a huge topic when it comes to startup companies. They're looking to get funding and stuff like that. I look into it quite some time, but for those who's listening right now, and I'm not, I'd love to learn a little bit more about it too. Like perhaps if you can elaborate to us, like what is Series A, B, and things like that? Because just for the record.
Yeah. Good question. So Series A and B, it refers to the funding round that the organization is going through. So a Series A funded company would be an organization that's received one round of funding.
Real quick. Okay, so back to that. Sorry about that, guys. We just had a little quick interruption. But so Josh, can you go ahead and just lay down your expertise, like what it is really when a startup comes to Series A, B funding, and et cetera?
Yeah, so it refers to the amount of investment rounds that the company has taken funding in. So a Series A round would mean that the company has taken more than likely one round of funding in from a set amount of investors. That could be one investor, or it could be a number of different investors all combining into to fund the business to get to kind of whatever that next tipping point would be. So Series B would typically mean that's the second round of funding they've taken. There are certain times where you might hear like seed round or pre-seed, which that kind of convolutes the whole process. But typically what you like to think of is each funding round represents one round of funding that organization has taken.
Got it. That makes sense. So just to confirm, basically A is like the first one, and they can have multiple from different investors that believes in it, and negotiation, contract, and all that. And then Series B would pretty much be like, oh, they're starting to tip, they're starting to move on, they're starting to gain traction, and like, you know what, we need double dive into that. Let's dump a little bit more money in it, and then keep it going, so to speak.
Yeah, so typically, not always, but typically that's what that refers to.
Got it. Josh, just out of curiosity, what made you choose that specific, field, like to specialize in, like to scale the team? Is it like just you like building things from the ground up? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so I really like to build. That's my biggest thing is I'm genuinely a builder, and I like to work with a team towards a common goal. So the reason that I like to do early stage startups is typically what I find fun about early stage was taking an idea, taking a concept, and really scaling that and creating processes that are scalable throughout that organization over the next year to 2 years. That's what I really find fun about it. And I think that a lot of the reps that I've had at these early stage companies, I still have really strong relationships with. And I could go to them for anything. They could come to me with anything. And I think that's what you get at early stage startups that you might not at larger organizations. You still certainly might, but that's just one thing I found at early stages. It's a little bit more of like that family environment.
Nice. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, they're fun too, right? When you're out there trying to build out processes, wearing multiple hats sometimes and things like that. But more important, it's like a family, right? It's like, hey, man, I got you. You got me. You guys know each other a little bit more than on a just business level. It's more like, oh, you have kids, or hey, you know, how's Sally? How's Chad? Stuff like that. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Josh, so what I really want to dive into next real quick. So New York Mets. So you were at Oregon, you know, you had your first cold call experience, but you really didn't start gaining your traction experience until you started working for the New York Mets. So New York Mets, you know, baseball team definitely, but you know, for those who doesn't know, like you're starting as an inside sales rep, which you mentioned is pretty much full cycle, which I imagine it is from top down funnel, right? Getting driving awareness, interest, and then qualifying down to the close. So what is it exactly that you guys sell over at New York Mets?
Yeah, so we were over there slinging season tickets. So if anyone wanted to purchase like a ticket plan up to like a full season suite package like that, that's what we were selling. And I can tell you it's a lot easier to sell when your team is good, which probably not super surprising, but the first 2 years I was at the Mets, we were awful. Like we were basically out of the playoff hunt by the end of the first month, which made it really challenging to hit our numbers. But on the flip side of that, and especially looking back at that experience, I can tell you that I really wouldn't have had it any other way because the Mets were so bad on the field, it made my job and the job of all of my colleagues so challenging that we had to find different ways to add value to our prospects to ensure that we had a good reason for reaching out. And now at this point where we are in sales in 2020, especially given the current environment with all the stuff going on, you have to add value. Like that isn't, you can't just sell something because it's cool. You can't just sell something because it might be a nice to have. You must add value. You have to be in the have to have category for your prospects at this point, because your prospects are looking at three things. They're looking at the churn rate, they're looking at the burn rate, and they're looking at their revenue. So you have to help each prospect in one of those three categories, or else it's just going to get pushed off until when the climate is better. So being at the Mets, understanding that you have to add value in the sales process was an experience that I really wouldn't trade for anything.
Wow. Okay. I love that. So just to elaborate on that, basically you came in there and it was rough, right? Mets were, it sucked at the time. It was shit. It's like, hey man, I'm calling in regards to the New York Mets ticket. What do you want to sell? Like, hey man, I don't want to watch them. They suck. Like, what was your thought process there, and what did you guys do to add value on top of that?
Yeah, so look, I'll be honest. Like there was obviously there's some ways to add value better than others. So we had some events that we did like with players, with front office staff, with like former players that were always kind of like the hot ticket items. But there were only a handful of those, and even those events, all of the salespeople are really clamoring over those invites, right? Like really, we have to start stacking that so that each rep only got like one, maybe two invites. So you were inviting your top prospect to that event, and if you got a second or crazy enough a third invite, you were having a field day. So for us, it was really about trying to find value in other ways. So like the games that we were able to get extra tickets to or upgrades to, it was about like running around to all of our prospects or clients and upgrading them into the better seats. It's about going and literally hand delivering some chicken fingers to some prospects. Like it was literally about finding any possible way that you could to add value to that prospect. Like there were even times where like I would hoard the Mets promotional items. So like the bobbleheads, the baseballs, all of this stuff, so that my clients and prospects could have that, so I could add value to them and to their experience. And now where we are right now, it's about finding those ways to add value to your prospects every day. Like that, there's a gentleman that reached out to me that had said, hey, like I have an opportunity, here's what I do. Like I do cookies and send it in this awesome packaging to prospects. Like I'd love to give you an example. And he literally sent me cookies. This guy from Nam's Bake Shop. I'll give him a little bit of a plug here. Like literally, like it's finding ways to do that can add value to your prospects every single day. And I think that's where we are right now. It doesn't mean that you have to give people something. It can be about just, a transfer of knowledge, right? Sending an article that you find helpful, sending a LinkedIn post that you found interesting, like really anything that you find or think could add value to your prospects' day, week, job. That's how to go about that process. And that's really what I learned very early on in my career that I try to impart on everybody, not only on my team, but in the sales community.
Nice. I love that. Everything that you just talked about and said right there was basically music to my ears. And that's exactly the problem, the one of the number one, if not the problem in the sales development community, because they're always coming out with an ad straight out the bat. And just out of curiosity, how did you come up with that during your time over at the New York Mets? Was it something that you learned a while back? Was it a tip? Was it like a sales trainer that you learned from? Or was it just something in general that happened to you back in the days that you take it to this day and move forward with it?
Yeah, good question there. So I think it was a hodgepodge. Like I think sometimes, especially people early in their careers, like sales reps, myself, like you hear something once and you internalize it and you try to figure out if it's worthwhile to kind of keep that knowledge or if it's going to go out the other ear. And what I think the Mets did a really good job of is bringing in the right sales trainers that imparted that message on the team, having the sales leaders communicate that message consistently, but also having the other sales reps, the more senior and tenured ISRs, account executives, sales managers, really continue to communicate that message that you have to add value. That, yeah, you can go ahead and take this bobblehead home and put it on your desk, and that's great. But understanding that you need to look at things a different way, and you can look at that bobblehead as a cool like trinket that you can put on your mantle at home, but you can also look at that as a sales tool and as a value add to your prospects, in the same way that you would, when you're just traveling by day, right? Like I think that one of the best lessons I got kind of along the same lines is like when I'm going on the subway, I'm passing by businesses every single day and looking at organizations and businesses that you pass by and say like, they could be an interesting prospect. Or like if you see a business, clearly in a new workspace, right? And saying, okay, they may be growing. They may be, a good prospect for me to go sell into right now. That's all something that I think is are good lessons for people early in their sales career. And those were lessons for me that were really incredibly valuable, that I've never forgotten. And I always try to impart on my team and my organization.
Nice. I love that. That was straight money right there. This is the sales philosophy that I learned early on too during my time over at. Oh, I love that cat. Is that your cat?
That's my dog. He's just coming
sure.
back.
Yeah, bring him on the show, man.
Oh, absolutely, Bronson. Bronson, come say
hey, Bronson.
So everybody, this is Bronson.
Bronson, say hi to our YouTube
He's
channel.
incredible at connecting with prospects, but he's a little lazy. He sleeps on the job.
No, man, that brings up the human connection. He might even help you close sales. Who knows? That's how you do it.
Oh, absolutely. One of my favorite things to do was like, if I had a prospect that was just dodging me, like I'd just pull up a video and I'd say, hey, Bronson, jump in this video. Like here's Bronson and me working from home. Like give it a shot.
Yeah, that's how you do it, man. I love it. I forgot what we were talking about real quick. That was great. He was this great show killer. I love that. What kind of breed is he, by the way? Is he a mix?
Bronson is a Formosan mountain dog, also known as a Taiwanese street dog. Nice.
I love dogs.
Very good boy too.
Awesome. All All right. So, oh yes, and so what we were talking about. So, and I love it when I learned that early on from my sales career too. You're always, and I believe this. You correct me if I'm wrong. I believe your philosophy and the way you see things is you're always be helping and always be learning. Is that right?
Absolutely,
Love
100%.
love it. Love it. All right. So, Josh, why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit more of what Walkme is and what do you guys really do? I did some research on you guys. Seems like you guys are a enterprise platform that looks to me like integrate, integrates from other people's tech solutions to have a true 360 view. Is that right, or am I off on that?
No, no. So you're spot on. So what's really cool about WalkMe and our product, and honestly, like part of the reason why I even accepted the role at WalkMe and decided to join was the product is so unbelievably customizable because you can do a lot of different things with it. So like I'll give you an example, right? So WalkMe is a digital adoption platform at its core, and what that actually means is I could give you a bunch of like industry jargon.
Yeah.
But I'm always a big believer that stories win, jargon does not. So I'll just kind of like give you an example, right? So we're all working remotely, right? We're all working from home through all this stuff. I started at WalkMe a week before we completely went remote. So I had 1 week in the office and then we all went remote. My
Oh, fuck.
entire team of BDRs is all remote. So they started remote. We literally had to deliver their computers like by FedEx. Like they couldn't come pick up their computers, the office was closed. So think about our tech stack, right? Like we've got Salesforce, we've got we're on outreach. Like we have all these, we have this big awesome tool stack. And one of the challenges is like what happens if one of your reps has never used
Oh,
Salesforce before, right? Like they are
yeah.
learning this entirely new software. Now, if you're in the office, not that big a challenge, right? Like you can just lean over to the next person and say, hey, like tell me what to do, and let me rewind that. Instead of saying not that big a challenge, I will say it is less challenging. I still think there are a number of challenges that come with that territory, but it's not as challenging. Now that we're remote, you can't do that. Like there's no like I can't lean over to Bronson here and say, hey Bronson, like can you show me how to do this on Salesforce? Like
Yeah.
Bronson's not going to know.
Yeah.
So
Oh
so
man.
now it's much more challenging. Like you gotta go on a Zoom, you gotta go on a screen share, like everyone's internet's gotta be running. Like now it's actually this big problem. And so you have all of these different tools, right? You've got like Salesforce, you got Workday, ServiceNow, all of these different tools that people may not know how to use efficiently. And now your organization's revenue, your organization's efficiency, your burn rate, now all of this is super dependent on your hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees actually understanding this software at a really granular and specific level and being able to do their jobs as efficiently as possible. Because if you're not, your organization's wasting money. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's really what WalkMe helps with at a core level. But there's so many other use cases, so many other stories that I could take you through that I think would be just as resonating, if not more. And that's really kind of like what WalkMe and what digital adoption at its core is for, right? Like it's for environments right now. And I could send over, if anyone is listening to this and you're interested to get articles, I've got like 150 of them that I can send you. My favorite one is a Harvard Business Review article that literally states organizations are differentiating themselves by doubling down on digital transformation, which is what WalkMe helps with.
Nice, nice. I love that. Okay. I just want to piggyback on that real quick because so I'm at my previous company I used to work for was called Silverline CRM, and they're pretty much a Salesforce Platinum level partner. However, they specialize in a couple of verticals such as the financial services vertical or so. And I was in a banking sector specific, right? And when diving into banking, right, you go into a bank like Bank of America or Chase, and they're using like multiple platforms. One of it's for like customer service. Another one is like for inbound lead, and another one's like an outbound lead. They're totally all separated. And Silverline's job is to go ahead and integrate that all 360, so that's all in one, so that they don't have to go out to looking for specific answers and stuff. Is that what basically WalkMe does too in terms of digital adoption?
So I think I would need you to kind of repeat a little bit of that.
Yeah,
But what Walkme is essentially doing is layering on top of your CRM. So like you don't
got it.
really know Walkme is there, but it's just going to layer on top of and give you the ability to understand and use the software to its fullest potential. Like
Oh,
organizations that are spending millions of dollars right now on their tech stacks, and I think the big challenge is that of the hundreds of thousands of people that are on each individual platform, how many of those people actually use that platform to its fullest potential? I personally would argue that less than 10% are actually using that platform to its fullest potential.
yeah.
And that's really what WalkMe is enabling. It is for all users to take their knowledge and usage being the key component there of that platform from, maybe a C minus
Yeah.
to an A plus every time.
Got it. Got it. Okay. I love that. So, and that totally just clicks to me right now. Basically, it's like a guidance. That's I'm guessing that's probably where they got the name Walk Me To, right? It's pretty much they're walking you how to fully use the platform and maximize it, right? And for instance, it's just like LinkedIn Sales Navigator to build list build because not everyone really knows how to filter that specific way. And there's some features on there that people don't really know. So they're like not they're wasting it. So they're not using it to its full potential, so to speak. Such as I know there's this one feature on there where if you're to find this one specific prospect or client that's very, 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 very highly targeted, there's like this 3 button that you click on the right side and view similar profile, and it'll bring up everyone who has a very similar algorithm or profile,
Boom.
so to speak, right? So that's basically what WalkMe would do. They're like, hey, Josh, you can actually view a similar profile by clicking this, and they're like, oh shit. So that's what
Yeah,
it
no,
is.
you
Perfect.
you got it spot on.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You're absolutely right. Working from home, staying at home, like first time, like the BDR. Oh man, I never used Outreach before. I never used Salesforce. How do I build it? How do I filter and stuff? So I guess you guys got that figured out, huh?
Uh, we are definitely. I can definitely say we're eating our own dog food there. WalkMe has been very helpful for our team, 100%.
No worries, no worries. So, Josh, as a business development manager, normally that's like an individual contributor role, but it seems to me like you're building out a team too. Are you pretty much doing full cycle sales while building a team at the same time? Is that what it is?
No, so I'm just running our team. So I don't have like an individual contributor quota. My number is our team number. So I think it is a good point you bring up. I think you're tending to see a little bit more title inflation, where like I know a lot of awesome people that have like manager in their title. Good friends of mine that are still selling. Even like there are some people that I know that are directors that are actually selling. But at WalkMe, it's a little different. Like, we do have kind of like, if you have a manager title, you're more than likely managing a team.
Nice, nice, perfect. So, Josh, let's just dive right into this real quick. So, I know you mentioned you help other teams scale before. You've done it before. This is your level of expertise. Like, I want to get your thought process and what is it that you really look for when it comes to that specific rep? Like, this is the guy, this is who I'm looking for. And when you interview them, what are a few tips for other SDR and BDRs looking right now so that they can work towards it to, maybe one day work for you? Like, what do you look
Yeah,
for? Yeah.
absolutely. Um, there's a number of traits I think that you can find, and I'll actually plug SDR Defenders on this one. We actually
No.
released a top SDR traits for people like if they're looking to come into a role like this. We actually outlined what those traits are. For me, the number one thing you got to have is hustle. Like in my opinion, like you can't teach work ethic. It has to be, you have to build to have a really strong work ethic, and having hustle, having that drive is non-negotiable. So for me, that's the very first thing that I look for and evaluate for. The second I would say is a willingness to try. Like really being willing to try new things, try messaging differently, listening to suggestions, listening to recommendations, giving video in your sales process a shot, like really being willing to try new things instead of just, spraying and praying.
Yeah.
And the third could be a number of different things. And honestly, you could add, two different things to the top, and I probably wouldn't disagree with you. But for me, the third is really like a passion and a wanting to do this. Like your hustle, your drive, your willingness to try, your persistence, like that will take you far. But if you don't have a passion for this, like if you don't want to sell, then that's going to be very challenging to overcome. So if people like I've had a number of people that I've interviewed say things like, oh, I really just need a job. To me, like that's a
That's a no, bro.
disqualifier. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's look, I respect that. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking for people that want to do this, want to be here, and who are going to grow within the role. Like I want people who are going to say, hey, like I want to be an AE. I want to be an enterprise AE. I want to be a sales leader. Like that's really what I love to hear in interviews. That's not to say that other roles aren't possible. That's not saying like if someone were to say, oh, I want to be an account manager or I want to work in marketing, like that doesn't DQ you at all. But I like to have an understanding that the person that I'm interviewing has a plan and wants to grow and wants to take that next step, and that the role they're applying for is a very deliberate decision to get them where they want to go.
Nice. I love that. And that's exactly why you're at where you're at today in terms of taking full control of that process. You know exactly what to look for. Highly agree. Yeah. You don't want to just hire someone who's just, I just need a job, man, because sooner or later they're just like, hey, laters. So Josh, while I still have you on the time here, what I really want to talk next is, so Scott Ingram, you were listed on, and I'm actually looking at it right now too. So it is, Josh Robb, you're on Scott Ingram's that sales tip, and talking about how the average likes and comments, engagement rate, and stuff like that. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with this?
Yeah, I wish that I had more experience with this, but to be totally honest, like I just really wanted to engage with other sales professionals. And I saw guys like Dale Dupree and Kevin Dorsey and Colin Cadmus, Justin Welsh, Amy Volas, like really posting and sharing experiences that they had. And one day I just figured, oh, like I'll share an experience I had, and it got decent engagement. I just figured, you know what, like I enjoyed doing this. I enjoyed engaging with people in the comment section. And I enjoyed engaging with other people's posts as well. And so, I just decided to make it a consistent effort from my end to post, doesn't have to be once a day, but I try to get like 4 to 5 posts out over the course of the week. I don't always hit it. There's some weeks where I get 3, some weeks that I get 6 or 7, but I really just enjoy communicating and helping other sales professionals, but also learning from other sales professionals. I think that there's a lot left for me to learn, and I just love to learn, but I also think that there's some areas where I can help people avoid some mistakes that I've made in the past. And so that's really what drove me to start posting in the first place.
Nice. I love that. And just out of curiosity, when did you started doing this, like the post and the sharing? Because I'm very familiar, Del Dupree and Josh Wash too, all of them good fellas.
Yeah, so I started consistently posting towards the end of November. I had started building out my plan for this in like the middle of October, end of September, on like how I wanted to roll this out.
Yeah.
And then I just slowly started to build. Like I think one of the things that I did that looking back helped me, and it's not the same for everybody, but for me what helped was starting slow. Like posting once, iterating on a post for a week, posting once the next week, and then the next month I would post twice a week. Then the next month I posted 3 times a week, and then finally after that I was just like, all right, we're running now. We're going, we're doing this. So starting slow and having a very deliberate plan of topics I wanted to discuss was very helpful, and it also helped me understand like what was resonating with people. And then after that, it was really understanding, okay, like now I can start to get into sharing, some experiences that I've had, engaging with other folks, and really offering some of what I think is industry insight, to allow others hopefully to learn from the mistakes that I made, but also learn from the successes that I've had.
Nice. Nice. I love that, Josh. And there's a lot of people out there that I see too who has like the wrong mindset, right? They're always like, oh, you know what? It's all about your mindset. It's all about your mindset. I gotta post once a day. And for me, it's like, yo, man, you gotta really, like, for me, honestly, I only post when it's relevant or if it's something really, really powerful that I can share. Such that, like yourself, like I shared many stories before too, and I really pick up. It's only if it's like very valuable. You're not there just posting to post or walking around a neighborhood, recording yourself walking around and shit like that. I mean, I do have recording videos, but it's running, so it's different and stuff. But I'm not bashing on that, but what I mean, it's kind of like, hey man, you kind of starting to pop up like spam, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that that's what's super key, right? Is like, you always want to post relevant content, and I also think it's important to like post when you want to post, right? Like if you start getting into a cadence where you're posting because like you want the likes, or you want the, you want people to like comment and follow you, you want to like increase your follower count or whatever, like there's other probably better ways to do that. I'm pretty sure on Instagram you just go buy followers. Like that's not why I'm in this. Like I just genuinely enjoy doing it. And for that reason, like that's why I post. But like there are definitely days where I'm like, you know what, I don't feel like posting, so I don't. Like you got to do what you want to do at the end of the day.
I love it. Yeah. Or, organic touches, organic reaches, all organic conversation, like how we're having right now, right? All organic.
Totally. Exactly.
Josh, so with all due respect for your time, we really love, appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we just go to the wrap up real quick? Is there anything that perhaps maybe sales success stories, or, if there's something that you learned in terms of sports that you still use today? Is there anything you'd like to share?
I'll leave everybody with my motto: a river cuts through rock, not with its power, but with its persistence.
Oh, boom. I saw your profile. I looked at it right when I read that phrase right there. I knew you were the real deal. How did you come up with that, or did you?
No, I wish. No, it's a proverb. No, I wish I was smart enough to come up with something like that.
Wait. Did you say it was a Proverbs?
Yeah, it's a proverb I found. It's been attributed to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to credit someone who maybe should or shouldn't be credited. So it's a saying that if you Google it, I'm sure it'll give you 8 different names of people that want to take credit for it. But it was certainly not me.
Oh no, I'm a big fan too. I read the Bible too. Do you read the Bible too, or is that just something you just stick to the side?
I kind of practice religion in my own way.
All right, that's fair. It's funny. I actually have my Bible right here. It's Proverbs and stuff. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Josh, thank you again so much for hopping on the One Up Sales Development Podcast. If there's anyone on the show listening to this right now, they want to reach out to you. They still want to say thanks. They want to learn from you. They want to start picking up your algorithm, or maybe they just want to work for you as a BDR, man. What's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah. You can find me in a couple of different ways. Feel free to shoot me an email at josh.roth@walkme.com, or just connect with me on LinkedIn and just send a little message along with it. I actually commented today that I respond to every single message I get, at least the first one. If you ask me questions like, what's your favorite shoe? I might not respond to that one, but as long as I've actually gotten that message, but as long as you like shoot a little personal message, just, hey, like listen to you on the podcast, like I'll always get back to you. I'll always message you back. I'm big on the just courtesy, professional courtesy there. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. I like to talk to people, like to engage. So don't be shy.
Perfect. All right, Josh, we love that. And hey, just gotta ask you one last one. Sorry for bringing it. Is because there's a lot of people who just want to connect off the bat just for no reason. They just hit that connect sign. What are your thoughts on there? Do you accept those, or is it all about organic, like just questions and just comments and stuff like that?
If you send me a connection request, my operating assumption is that you've done your homework and you're connecting with me for a reason. If you go immediately into a pitch, then, feel free to read my profile and read the article I posted on pitching on the first message. But if you're just connecting because you want to engage with me, like I'll always accept that.
Awesome. All right, guys, without further ado, that wraps up for this episode of the One Up Sales Development Podcast. Josh, thank